Cats is fucking garbage.
I'm sure that you're thinking that's a little harsh. I promise you it's not. Cats is worthless and without saving. It's a pile of wrong wrapped up in incorrect, and to watch it is to stare into the everlasting void. The last year of Cats has been one of the worst years on memory. Debilitating locusts, economic collapse, a once-in-a-generation pandemic, and rampant climate change, just to name a few. And while we probably can't blame Universal's Cats for everything wrong in the world, it certainly did set us up for failure. Now, before we go too farther, I think there's one important question that we need to answer. What is Cats?
As the longest running show on Broadway, Cats definitely has lived 9 lives.
I knew we were doing something very, very special and very unique.
Everybody thought we were raving mad.
The number of people who asked me with an embarrassed smile on their face, doing a show about pussycats?
Cats is a pseudo-revue-style musical released on the world in 1981. The musical was conceptualized and composed by billionaire catman A.L.W. Andrew Lloyd Webber, based on a 1939 poetry collection, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. To say it was a huge success is an understatement. Cats was everywhere. Cats was everything. Not only has the musical grossed $3.5 billion as of 2012, it revolutionized musicals, creating spectacle and grandeur rarely seen on the stage before it. Cats wasn't always guaranteed to be a success.
It's the sort of show that we're told, sort of at birth, that it's impossible to do in Britain, which is precisely why we're doing it here.
The musical follows the story of a tribe of cats, known as jellicle cats, or dear little cats, who come together once a year under the jellicle moon to pick a cat that will be reborn. You know, some 9 lives kind of shit. The musical is really more about the choreography, costuming, and vocal performances than the story. Fast forward to 2019, and Universal, of course, is releasing a film adaptation of the smash hit, directed by Tom Hooper and starring... Wait, actually, we'll get into the cast a little later. I'm sure you've heard of this movie. I'm sure you've even seen the widely discussed trailer. But frankly, you have no idea what Cats is without really experiencing it. I'd like to help you with that. So let's answer the question. What is Cats? So humans exist in this reality, and cars are apparently a valid form of transportation. So I guess we're led to believe that these just happen to be normal cats. Normal, everyday cats. Nothing to worry about. So this large woman comes up and basically just fucking yeets a cat. Okay, and right here is where we get our first shot of these disgusting creatures. This is the kind of hellscape that we're dealing with, and we will discuss the look of these creatures throughout this entire movie. But just understand what we're going for here. This is the kind of fever dream that we will be subject to for the rest of this entire movie. So basically Victoria, the cat who got yeeted by her owner into this junkyard, is standing in the middle of a cult being sung at. Now, in case you missed it, I'm just gonna play it one more time, but they are indeed jellicle cats.
Because jellicles can and jellicles do.
Jellicles do and jellicles can.
That's genius.
The dancing is fucking animated over. Tom Hooper's obsessed with his digital fur technology that we just have to animate over all of the dancing, therefore making a spectacle out of our already existing spectacle. As you can see, all of the dancers don't look like they're touching the ground. It's actually fantastic, because they hired real levitating dancers to be in the show. See, it's here in Trafalgar Square where we actually notice some amazing, amazing Easter eggs. See, Tom Hooper is so brilliant. He made everything in the movie cat-themed. I could never have thought of that, and that's why he makes the big bucks. You're gonna notice that every other word in this movie is cats. Just fucking deal with it. When the title's cats, what else do you think you're gonna fucking get? Remember that he is indeed a magical cat. We'll get back to that. And here's the introduction of our main villain, Idris Elba's McCavity. He's basically just fucking evil. They refer to him later on as the Napoleon of cat crime or something stupid like that. Idris Elba's wasted in this role. We don't need to discuss that, but he is a cat who indeed does magic, but he's not the magic cat. Again, we'll come back to that. So there's a different discussion to be had at maybe a different time about the introduction of Victoria as the main character of this play/movie. See, Victoria is barely in the original play, and her introduction in the film basically shows an incredible misunderstanding of the source material by Tom Hooper. But really, what else was to be expected when everything about this movie is just an absolute mistake? Here it's being discussed that all of these cats, the jellicle cats, if you will, meet up once a year under the jellicle moon to put it lightly, have a talent show to win an assisted suicide. They believe that one of them will be chosen by old Deuteronomy, then, ascend on high to the Heaviside Lair to be born again into their next life.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, Rebel Wilson is in this, and she plays Jenny Anydots, the first of many cats we're gonna get to know tonight. And Jenny Anydots is a fat, Gumby cat, whatever the fuck that means, who just lies around the house all day and eventually at night teaches mice and grotesque cockroaches to sing and dance. Rebel Wilson's shtick in this movie gets old really, really fast, and I mean by really fast, I mean right away. And let me just say this, while her performance is not good, neither is her character or her song. So yeah, Jenny Anydots can fuck right out. Most of Rebel Wilson's scene here is actually just a horror movie with grotesque cockroaches doing a dance number and Rebel Wilson engaging in body horror, the likes of which you have never seen before. You may want to remove your eyes because it just happens to be the most grotesque scene ever put to film.
Disgusting!
Okay, now we're really moving along here. In comes Jason Derulo to play Rum Tum Tugger. Yes, that's a real name. And, well, I'm gonna let Rum Tum Tugger tell you a little bit about himself.
Always on the wrong side of every door. As soon as I get home, then I like to get a bar. I like to lie in the bureau drawer. But I make such a fuss if I can't get out.
I can dance how he dances too.
Let me see.
Who the fuck is she talking to?
It's easy.
I've never witnessed a more sex-crazed maniac than Jason Derulo in this Cats film. Take all the sexual magnetism of a real-life pop star and just put in the naked, disgusting, jerky movements of CGI cats, and you have some sort of Lovecraftian level of sexual tension that I just can't handle. First of all, everyone in this movie has fuck me eyes, but no one in the movie has a case of the horny quite like Jason Derulo. Here we have the introduction of Jennifer Hudson's Grisabella the Glamour Cat. We'll talk about her later, but it's important to note that she is here for the first time, as she's a very important character in the movie and in the stage show. She's not a jellicle cat, and that's kind of all she wants to be. Right, so we just got rid of Rebel Wilson, and we're about to introduce James Corden. This movie is a boxing match of disappointment. So James Corden's song is about how he's a cat in spats, and he's fat, and that's about it. We're gonna skip pretty far through this one, but he is really grotesquely fat. I mean, look at James Corden. Just look at the size of this lad. Before we go, McCavity is stealing people throughout the entire film. He's gonna take Jenny Anydots, and he's, spoiler alert, gonna take some of the other cats as well. He's just sort of clearing out all of the competition, hoping he can win the competition later and get picked at the Jellicle Ball. It's not the worst plan. So James Corden describes himself as the cat in spats, right? So is he the fat cat or is he the cat in spats? And there's another fat cat played by Rebel Wilson, but that's not the fat cat, she's the Gumby cat. Now that cat's the cat in spats, but the other cat's the fat cat, the Gumby cat. What the fuck? It's a demented Dr. Seuss book. This next song is, yeah, you guessed it, another introduction. We're introducing Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. These two aren't even competing in the Jellicle Ball. They're just mischief cats that we happen to get to know because Victoria stumbles upon them. The only interesting part of this scene is that all of the proportions are off. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with this fork and knife? My cats are not smaller than a fork and knife. It's like a person never saw a cat in real life. It's a very common animal. The internet is full of them. Oh great, McCavity put Rebel Wilson and James Corden together. I guess he really is the Napoleon of cat crime. So these two fat cats are stuck on a fucking barge while McCavity fucks off to get other people, and they have to get stung at by a guy who looks like he spent 17 years in Davy Jones's locker. This is where Old Deuteronomy shows up. Now Old Deuteronomy is the most important cat of all the Jellicle cats, almost like the Jellicle leader. Now, Old Dude's the one that gets to pick the winner of the Jellicle Ball, the one that gets to decide which cat gets murdered, basically, and sent to the Heaviside lair. She is incredibly important. Everyone seems to fucking love her. And, oh yeah, she's wearing a fucking fur coat. There are so many questions. Whose fur is that? Is that your own fur? Is that other cat's fur? Are cats cannibals? Wait, hold on. Are cats cannibals? You can't tell me this isn't the initiation into a cult. This is some weird orgy sex death cult that I just don't want to be involved in. This is actually an entirely new genre of porn, and I am not here for it. Okay, so after the group sex montage, Victoria needs to go outside for a fucking post-sex smoke. While she's outside, she sees Grisabella the glamour cat again, and this is where we get two really boring songs back to back. And I'm calling them boring, not because the songs are necessarily bad, but because Tom Hooper doesn't know how to direct. Here we have Victoria, a character that was expanded upon for this film, mocking the heart and soul of the entire Cats franchise. Oh, by the way, she's singing a song written by Taylor Swift, which, granted, is actually a bigger fall from grace than Reputation. I didn't think that was possible, but it is. Watching Ian McKellen lap up water and then lick himself is something I didn't need from an actor I respect. Honestly, it needs an NC-17 rating. This can't be safe for children to view. Oh, right. Well, this is Ian McKellen. He's the theater cat. He was really famous at one point in time. His name is Gus. I don't know. He just needs a new life because he's old and decrepit, I guess. Gross. Here we have, unironically, my favorite song of the entire musical. Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat fucking slaps, and I don't care who you are. Watching this little red-pantsed motherfucker tap dance like a train just brings me absolute joy, and it is the only time in the movie that this happens. I'm not sure why Hooper had to make 27 fucking cuts, but whatever, we work with what we got here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. British Taylor Swift. Not only did Taylor Swift think that she would get an Oscar for this movie, she was all but guaranteed one by the folks at Universal. But adding on to that, her reason for being in this movie is maybe even creepier than the movie itself. She wanted to be in the movie because she had cats? Something about dressing up in a mocap suit and then getting digital fur technology put on you just because you have cats screams kinda strange to me. Oh my god, ew. Idris Elba is one of the most attractive men on the planet. I never thought Idris Elba's naked body would be so fucking disgusting. So here we see the culmination of McCavity's grand plan. He is the only contestant left, therefore he must win the Jellicle Ball and the death he so rightfully deserves. But, alas, he is not chosen, and old Deuteronomy is kidnapped onto the same barge as everyone else. So the cats are freaking out. What are they gonna do? Old Deuteronomy was just taken. Their fucking god was basically taken. So it's at this point they remember that there's another cat capable of doing magic. This cat is actually the self-described magic cat. Not the other guy that does magic, who is the self-described evil cat. No. This guy that does magic is the self-described magic cat. Therefore, they shouldn't have forgotten that this guy could do magic, but they did. But don't worry, they will tell us about 27,000 times. So after incoherent babbling the song, the magical Mr. Mistopheles successfully brings old Deuteronomy back from the barge on the Thames, therefore saving the Jellicle Ball. Do you remember the hellscape of Jenny Anydots' first scene? Well, we get a reiteration of the body horror after Rebel Wilson takes off her skin one more time and then gets in what I am describing as the best Power Rangers fight I've ever seen. So there are no more contestants to the Jellicle Ball, and after peering in from the outside, Grizabella is beginning to walk away when Veronica calls her in. This is where they sing Memory. You know Memory. It's fucking in everything.
Memory, all alone in the moonlight.
Stop.
So, after singing Memory with a lot of snot, Grizabella is welcomed once again into the Jellicle Cats. And, guess what? She wins the Jellicle Ball. Congratulations, Grizabella, you get death by air balloon, the most 18th century way of dying. And it sucks because Jennifer Hudson is genuinely trying here. It's just too bad she looks like a disease-ridden animal that can't be taken seriously. It's like if Ronald McDonald delivered the Pope's annual Christmas address. In one last-ditch effort to get to the Heaviside layer, McCavity jumps on the hot air balloon and plummets onto a statue. There's no consequences for his actions.
Disappointed!
So for the next 3 minutes and 19 seconds, Judi Dench just talks to the crowd, the audience. She breaks the fourth wall and I guess explains to us why we just wasted an hour and 49 minutes of our life.
You've heard of several. The cats are very much like you. You've seen us both at work and games and learnt fast. Your memory I'll jog and say a cat is not a dog.
That was Cats, an ill-conceived mess of a film masquerading as advancement, innovation, and art. We as a species are certainly worse off with it existing, but I couldn't in good conscience blame Universal's Cats for all of the issues on the world without you first understanding why I was doing so. Now do you get it?